Hello and welcome. I am Exit Light and this is my podcast. Hello, Rob.
Hey, Jason.
What's going on?
Everything, everything is fine. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not coming through too loud. So I'm talking really, really low and quietly.
I appreciate that. So, how's your week been?
Well, I've had better ones, put it this way. I've had better ones. Let's say last week. Last week was a roller coaster.
Well, so if you don't mind, I'm gonna talk to our subscribers a little bit about you. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine, yeah.
Okay, so Rob has had some test results that are concerning. Um, I don't know exactly how much you want me to say.
Just say what's happened.
Okay, so they found that there's a tumor on Rob's kidney. So he's going to be getting some more testing and then he'll be having surgery. And if you all would comment below and send him your thoughts, prayers, lit candles, healing energy, whatever it is in your particular corner of the world that you do, I think that Rob would greatly appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate it. And we have a great little community here and we kind of stick together and support each other. So um, that would be really nice.
Yes, it would. Thank you. That would be really lovely. Thank you very much.
I need Rob to stick around, right?
Yep, I need you to stick around as well.
Okay, I'm working on it. All right. Before we get started, if you guys would like this video, I'd appreciate that. It really does a lot for my channel. If you would give this video a thumbs up. No. If you would want to be subscribed, that would be great too. Because when we get to the 3,000 subscribers milestone, I'm doing a giveaway, and I think that you guys are really going to like it. I'm going to fill a box with all things, in my personal opinion, that would remind somebody of my Exit Light channel. So I think it's. I'm really having a great idea, coming up with ideas,
Yeah.
and it's. I hope you guys like it. So I'll be talking pretty soon about how to enter the contest, and I hope you all do. I hope you guys participate in it because I'm excited. I'm really excited, and it's all because of you guys that I even have almost gotten 3,000 subscribers. So thank you. Okay, Rob. So we're doing a part 2 of paranormal activity that has happened to us. Is that right?
Yes, we have. We are. Yes.
Okay.
We are.
So do you mind if do you have anything you want to say?
No, you can kick off if you want.
Okay. Do you mind if I go ahead and go?
No, go for it.
Okay. So I've told the story before, but like I said, I told it very early when I started my channel, and I've talked about it before, but I can't even remember the last time. So for those of you who are new, then it's likely going to be the first time you've ever heard the story. And for those of you who aren't new and have heard the story, well, I guess you can hear me say it again. Sorry. Um, anyway, here it is. Okay. So I remember the day it happened because the news came on at about 11 o'clock at night. And the news broke in to say that there was something happening and that the president was going to be speaking. And so that doesn't happen at 11 o'clock at night, unless you're like, oh, we just went to war, or, I mean, Well, basically that. At 11 o'clock at night, I just never had it happen before, unless it was something like that. So, so I called my kids into the living room and said, I don't know, this might be historical, so come sit here. And my husband was in our bedroom watching TV, and he had my youngest child back there with him. So we were waiting, and what the announcement was that Osama bin Laden had been captured or killed or something. There goes my monetization, by the way. So anyway, while this is happening, I am sitting in a recliner, and I have a sweats on, a jogger, a t-shirt and a sweatshirt, and I start touching my right side, just like not, just without thinking, I'm touching it, and pretty soon I'm like, ow, something is burning me. So then I live, in Texas, so the possibility that something is biting me is, likely. So I pull up the side of my shirt, and on my side, there are three distinct scratches. And I thought, well, that's weird. I didn't scratch it. And I stood up for some reason, and I said to my oldest daughter, look at my side. I didn't scratch it. And as I was doing that, my youngest daughter and my oldest daughter, who at the time were old enough to be aware of what was happening, watched as three more lines were drawn through that. And this time there was drops of blood
Whoa.
rising out of the scratches. So I got a little panicky, and I ran back into the bedroom where my husband was watching the news, and I showed him my side. And as I was showing him, three more scratches went across my side and were bleeding. My husband, who is calm, very cynical about, what's not cynical is the word I'm looking for. What is the word I'm looking for? Like, just skeptical about, things. And he's more likely to be like, well, let's see what this could be. Jumped out of the bed, leaving my small child on the bed, and said, get the fuck out. We're moving. And
sorry.
Yeah. So at that point, now I know when he's scared that I should probably be having a panic attack. So what I did was, now think about this. A few days later, we got these new neighbors, and within a day, these new neighbors had put lines of salt in front of their front door, all over their windowsills, and I had made a comment about it when I came home and I saw it, and I was like, oh, they're keeping the bad spirits out. And just was a kitchen witch thing. Wasn't thinking too much about it. Didn't realize they had, chased it into my house. And so I went to the bathroom and the kitchen. I got water and salt, and I was like, prayed over this, because I don't know that it really matters if a priest prays over it, or anybody can. I don't know. But went around the house flicking this water all over, immediately went out, put salt out all my window sills in front of our doors. Me and my neighbor, when they probably got up the next day, were like, yep, guess it went over there. And it was so, I don't know how to explain it. I have had so many paranormal experiences. I've had, like last time I talked about the burn on my back and everything. I've had so many paranormal experiences, and I have been physically touched 4 or 5 times total, I think. Only, but these two, this one, it felt even different than the burn on my shoulder. The burn on my shoulder, I told you that the Ouija board said it was my friend and everything, and I don't know what that is. But it still didn't feel like the intent was evil. This definitely, the intent definitely was evil. You could feel it, and obviously I could feel it, and my family was terrified of what it was. And so I'm going to tie another one in really, really quick. A couple weeks later, we have this game. It's a marble game that it's been in my family. It was invented in my family like a couple hundred years ago. And we were playing it. And I reached out and I rolled the dice, and my hand went flat over the board that we play on. And the board is handmade. It's not like something you buy at the store or anything. And I went flat over the board, and this something. Now, it wasn't a fog per se, but what it was it changed. The pixelations were blurry. It looked like if you're on a road and the heat comes off the road.
Yeah.
And it changes the way you see things. Well, that weird pixelation thing went over my hand. My husband yelled, "Holy shit." My daughter was like, "What is that?" And then as it drug over my hand, scrapes went across my hand and started bleeding. We did move not long after that. Not only did we move, but we left like a majority of our stuff. We moved we're moving, and when we moved within a couple days of when we decided that we've had enough. But being scratched like that is not something that I think my personal opinion, I don't think you ignore that. I mean, I ignore a lot of the stuff, shadow figures and voices, I try to ignore that kind of stuff and just be like, you do you, I'll do me, and we'll be fine. But this is, I think, malevolent in nature, and ended up really, we'll probably tell you in part 3, ended up really revving up later in the place I moved into.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that is also one of my paranormal experiences.
That's just how you expected to function with that kind of spookiness. I think, yeah, JD was right to say we want to move. We need to move now. Yeah.
He was now in this apartment. Now, I had told you that he figured out that he thought he invented shadow figures in our previous house, and so he was kind of leaning towards, like, okay, shadow figures, got that. Still wasn't like on board with something that would be malevolent, per se. He had another experience in that apartment that I'll probably tell. I think this is going to have to be broken down into several parts, but that convinced that he felt a malevolent force do something to him. And so I think that by the time I was starting to get scratched, he was done.
Yeah.
And the apartment building had been built in the 60s. When we moved in, it was almost exclusively old people who had lived there and raised their families there. They just never moved out. It was really close to the Air Force Base. So if it wasn't old people, then it was like Air Force people. And but the majority was old people. So, I don't know who had lived in there previously. I don't know what the story of that apartment was, but I know that it didn't it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? You want people to believe you,
Hmm.
but you also just want to get away from there straight away.
Oh yeah, the people who lived upstairs from us, they had a TV fly off the wall and crash onto their floor. They had a coffee mug fly off their table, and this is really weird. Another thing, just like my house experience, where the realtor came over and asked, "Do you know, did they have anything paranormal?" In this case, it was my kids who said, um, that their friend's mom. They had been at their friend's house, and had seen this coffee mug thing happen. And they told me, and I went and said, "Hey," to them, "Hey, this is going to sound weird, but do you guys have weird things?" And that's only that happening that my child happened to be the go-between, or we would not have even spoken about the fact that they had stuff. They would have their TV off and have voices come out of it. Um, it
What?
Yeah, the TV would be completely off, but they would hear voices coming out of it. And then they would turn it on, and the voices that had been coming on out of it were not the channel that it was on. They would unplug it, still hear
Don't like
voices coming
that.
out of it. Yeah, there was a whole lot of weird stuff that happened up there. They said that it felt like something made them like really violently angry, which I can attest to because cops came quite a bit. But if we hadn't communicated, then I wouldn't have known stuff happened in their apartment. So I don't know. I don't really know what happened in other people's apartments. I don't know what caused my other neighbor to put the salt and stuff out in front of their house. But I, it's, it's not good. So if you
That
ever move into
TV thing
Wichita
is.
Falls, Texas, uh, you comment to me first, and I'll tell you where not to live. In case you're wondering.
Well, mine. What I want to talk about is I have always, and we've talked about this loads of times. I've always seen shadow figures
Mm-hmm.
to the point that I just don't react anymore. But I don't know if it's anything to do with the fact that I've not been feeling very well, and I'm a little bit under the weather. I have seen a lot this week, an absolute load, to the point that I've actually got up and actually tried to think there's someone in my house, in my flat, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've just got the situation I've got here now is my daughter spent a week here, just over a week, and they went back on Monday, and they're coming back again the following Monday. So the flat was full of energy
Mm-hmm.
and really vibrant,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden it's just me and the mice. We've got pet mice, not just mice running around. We've got pet mice. And
Just me and the cockroaches.
yeah, just me and the cockroaches. So I was sat doing something, not yesterday, the day before, and I had I've got blinds all around the house. The blinds are down, so it was quite dark. Because like me and Tracy are vampires, we don't like the light.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's
And
true.
this shadow figure walked right across the room,
Mm.
not even trying to hide.
Hmm.
And usually, a lot of the time, it's just peripheral stuff that you see out the
Mm-hmm.
corner of your eye.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't. This was like I know you can't tell, but I'm looking at the path that it took now, and I was so annoyed because I thought to myself, "You're not even trying to hide now. You know,
Right.
they're not trying. They just don't care. They just don't care. You make it a little bit more difficult for me to see you. Don't. They've either completely sacked it because I wasn't paying any attention to them, and thought, right, we'll have this one. Well, this we're bleeding scary if it kills us. Well, obviously, if we can't be killed again, but but it's happening all the time, Chase, all the time.
Huh. And now, okay, so before your flat was a flat, it was the horseshoe place, right?
Yeah, the black
Blacksmith.
blacksmith. Yeah.
This is how you know we're friends. I say to you the horseshoe place, and you know what I'm talking about. Thank you. It saves me all the time. Yeah, so that is weird because, like, I wonder what else the history is that there could be, or maybe it's just the energy from the blacksmith. That would have brought a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life, and
Well, the lady that lived here before, I mean, I've said this a million times, so everybody knows.
yeah,
The lady who lived here before died here.
right,
She just died of old age. There were no suspicious circumstances or anything like that.
right,
I'm not getting a vibe that it's her.
right, yeah,
For some reason, it's not her. I know it's not her.
right.
And I could be completely wrong, but I
And does it
don't think.
feel male?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it does. It does feel male. And it's not like. I'm not getting. I used to not get like I'm scared vibe. I used to be just. But now I am getting a little bit. I shouldn't really be saying this out loud, should I? But um, I am getting a bit of a not scared, concerned vibe from
Uh-huh.
me.
Why? What's changing?
I don't know. I know Grace, my eldest, doesn't like to spend time in the flat on her own, and I could never understand why. Because even for 5 minutes while we went to the shop, um, but maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe she sees stuff.
Maybe it feels off to her.
Yeah, I can't really
Hmm.
ask her
Yes.
because she will then have seen everything.
Right. Right. She's suggestible.
Very.
Huh, interesting. I would love to see like what it is. Do you think it feels like there's malintent there?
I think it's because how brazen it was.
Ah,
That that
right,
sort of changed my opinion slightly.
right.
It wasn't even trying to
Uh-huh,
hide. But I haven't really had any. I do hear voices I do hear voices like from the other room.
uh-huh.
And but that's always been the case. And I've got this crazy neighbour upstairs who goes round outside checking his sheds at like 1 o'clock in the morning with a torch. So I hear a lot of stuff going on outside, and all of a
Just for those
sudden,
of us in America, by torch you mean a flashlight, not fire.
yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
he has a flashlight.
We call them flashlights.
Okay,
But like if I went around somewhere with a torch, it would be like a burning stick.
Okay.
I'd be chasing Frankenstein's monster,
Okay.
which is, by the way, saved for Thursdays.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
very very odd. Very very odd.
Hmm. Okay. Maybe it's something because you're not feeling well. Maybe there's somebody looking after you.
Well, I thought that maybe I did sort of take that as a consideration that it could be someone because I'm not because they say, don't they, that when you're not well, maybe you've got one foot in this world and one foot in the other.
Yeah, don't say that.
No, I didn't mean that world. I mean the paranormal world.
Yeah, just keep both of your feet here.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to tell about the story that where my husband felt the malevolent, I don't know, energy in that last apartment I was telling you about. Okay, so what had happened is we had moved from Arizona, left our home in Arizona and moved to Texas on apparently I do this. I hadn't realized it, but apparently I move on a whim every time I move. And when I moved here 2 years ago, I literally moved and we were it was 24 hours, right, Rob?
Yeah, it's 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago, yeah.
Well, that is scary.
I know, time flies. Yeah, it was 20. We had been kind of like, oh, we're looking at this and looking at that, and then 24 hours we got the okay, and then we were out of our place. It was just like boom, boom, boom. Anyway, so what had happened was we had that kind of situation. We had 2 weeks notice. My husband had been here working and had already had a 3-bedroom apartment, so we just moved into it. It wasn't something we had chosen. It just was what it was. So I hadn't done any looking into anything about it before that. So we had these friends who at the time was my husband's best friend, a mega douchebag, just so bad. But anyway, so they would come over every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I would make dinner and we would play this marble game. Okay. And they had 3 children that were, 2 of them were close-ish in age to my kids, close-ish. And then one of them, a younger one, but a little too young for my littlest to play with. But their middle one was exactly the same age as my youngest child. Their oldest one was kind of the same age as my youngest daughter. But anyway, the point of the story is, so they would play together, and the 2 kids, my youngest son and their middle daughter, were really tight. She was very much tomboy, up for anything. So they were the ones roughhousing and wrestling and just how it was. So they basically wore themselves out and fell asleep. We had a bunk bed, and they fell asleep on the bunk bed. They had been playing cards, fell asleep. And so the door was closed to the bedroom somehow. I don't remember how, but because we were right outside that, I mean, directly outside that bedroom playing this game, and we kind of got loud and competitive. And I mean, if it's a competition, if it's not a competition, I will make one. So we kind of were doing that, and then all the kids got really, really quiet, and it was that time of night where that they settled down, and we were going to wrap up our game, and one of my kids was going to their house. Their kid was going to stay at my house. And we went to go check on them because they had been, it wasn't usual for them to be quiet. So my husband walked over to the bedroom and grabbed the doorknob and went to turn it. And he felt resistance. And he thought, well, that's weird. So he tried to turn it again, and he couldn't get the knob to turn. And he said that it wasn't, he's told the story on here before. He said that it wasn't like the door was locked. It was like somebody was holding it. You can feel that resistance where somebody's literally trying to turn it the opposite direction that you are. And so he thought they must be trying to pull one over on me. And they're holding the door. So he turned the doorknob, and went to go kind of push it in with his shoulder a little bit, just a little bit, because he didn't want to send these two 6-year-olds flying through the air. But he was, on the other hand, in the back of his brain was like, it is not possible that a 6-year-old is stopping me from turning this doorknob. It's not physically possible. And that started kind of getting his adrenaline going. And he started to get a really bad feeling. This bedroom had a window that was on the outside of the apartment where the main sidewalk was. So I was always concerned. Eventually we stopped having anybody sleep in there because I was always concerned about that. But so he started thinking, oh, there's something wrong. So he pushes his shoulder into it, still thinking, I'm not, just in case, I'm not going to send him flying. And right then the doorknob lets go, and he falls in, and there on the bed, fast asleep, snoring, sleeping, not moving. And he checked under the bed. He checked in the closet because he thought for sure somebody must have been in that room. Checked to make sure the window was still locked. The window was locked. And that, to this day, that's something that he says was one of the most frightening things that he's ever dealt with before. Because he felt like somebody was keeping him from the children, the 6-year-olds. And it felt malevolent. Yeah. It's not funny. It's not a joke. It's not just a spirit, It's and he said it, and it was strong.
Yeah.
My husband works in a line of work that, he can open a doorknob.
It's definitely not funny when it's got to do with your children.
No, not at all.
That completely, that's a different page completely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was yeah. So that's my other story.
Right, well, mine. I have told this one before, but I will just reiterate it. I live in a little village in Cornwall, and I go and pick my daughters up from my ex and drop them off at my ex, and we have to go down lots and lots of country lanes to get to the main motorway type thing to get them home. And it's about 11 miles of country lanes that we have to go on. Now, I live near a place called Bodmin, and there is a legend, and it's been a legend for a long time, and there is footage of it, of a big black cat called the Beast of Bodmin Moor.
Oh, now, it's a cat?
Yeah, it's like a big puma.
Why did I think it was like a wolf?
Yeah,
Ooh.
a very, very big. The the logically, what people think is someone owned or got a kitten puma or um, like jaguar or something like that, and it's got. He didn't realise how big it was going to grow, and just let it go, and now it roams the moors. There've been cattle mutilations and all sorts of stuff that, to feed into the legend of the beast of Bodmin Moor. Now, in the winter, obviously it's dark early and it stays dark in the mornings quite late. And when I used to take my girls to school on a Monday morning, we were driving along this. Obviously, we were in traffic. There was traffic behind me because everybody's trying to get to work and to school and everything like that. So even though it's country lanes, it is quite busy. Something happened, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was, but I had to slow down, and I had to stop. And do you remember me telling you this, Trace? This black silhouette of a cat. Each side of the lane is quite overgrown with like hedges and stuff like that. This silhouette of something jumped down into the road and then jumped up the other side. And the girls saw it, I saw it, and it was gone. It was gone within 2 seconds. I don't think anybody else saw it, but we actually did see the beast of Bodmin Moor. We actually saw it, and I would take a lie detector or whatever. We saw something. We saw.
Are there any other big animals?
Not in the UK, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably maybe get foxes, but they're tiny little things.
Yeah.
Badgers, badgers are quite big, but it wasn't a badger. We don't have.
Yeah.
And the way it moved, it was feline.
Wow.
The way that it moved, it was scary. I'm not.
Was it?
Well, yeah.
You weren't gonna jump out of your car?
I was jumping out of it. But I remember saying to you, I always thought it was funny that I was stopped by something. I can't remember what it was, and then it jumped between my car and the car in front. So I wouldn't have, if I'd have been, if I think this is what I said to you last time, if I had been 1 second earlier or 1 second later, I wouldn't have seen it probably.
Right.
It's just so.
Well, and Bodmin Moor happens to be. I've never been, but the location for one of my very my top two favorite books. Right? Is that true? The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Hound of the Baskervilles, yeah.
Yes. I want to go.
And it's Jamaica Inns there as well.
I know. Yeah. We'll have to go when, things ever go back to normal. Whatever normal is, I don't even know anymore. Well, that's, I don't want to, I would, well, all right. I would like to see one of those, I think.
Can I tell another story?
Sure.
To do with the same place?
Yes.
I picked the girls up from school. This was another occasion. It was in the winter, so it was dark. by the time we got there, it was pretty much pitch black. Obviously, we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no street lights. The only thing that lights your way is your headlights on your car. Put them on full beam just to light up so you can see where you're going. You get people that used it like a racetrack, which I think is ridiculous because you can't see. It's really windy and you can't see what's coming at all, so you have to be careful. Anyway, you must remember this one, Trace. We were driving, Grace was in the front of the car. I saw this, but I didn't want to say anything. It was as though, I'm going to go back to shadow figures again. These shadow figures were jumping out of the way as we were driving. Just jumping out of the way. And Grace saw it as well. And she's like, Daddy, what's that? I went, oh, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Don't worry about it. But I will never forget it as long as I live. It's just, and I haven't seen it since. So, do you not remember me telling you?
I don't feel like I don't remember that.
It's just as though, if you can imagine people, the road is only just wide enough for the car, and it's as though people were jumping out of the way of the car, but they were shadows, really black, and it was black, it was dark, and it was blacker than the blackness of being outside. If that makes any kind of sense.
Yes. That's weird.
See, I think that if you see something paranormal, whatever it could be, UFO, ghost, I don't know, whatever, I think you're more prone to see other stuff as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if that's because, like, you are just more open, or if you are open and you believe it, then you're more likely to not tell yourself it's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not somebody who tells my kids that they're not saying what they're saying. You know, so that they can use that instinct.
Yeah, we're both the same in that respect.
Yeah. But if you're raised where it's negated all the time, or you maybe just don't believe it. So if you see something, you just write it off and make an excuse for it. So yeah, I think there's, two types of people in this world: people who see ghosts and think that it's their imagination, and people who see ghosts and know it's not their imagination. Okay, let's see. Let me see what my next one is. Okay, so for a long time, except for the last 2 years, because I moved, I was a volleyball coach. And we had moved into our new apartment because, the old one was haunted. And, well, that and a little thing about arson in the apartment next to us. So, we moved. And the volleyball for us was a family affair. Keep in mind now, my husband traveled this whole time, so it was mostly me and my kids at home. And my oldest daughter had moved out. She moved out uh, fairly young. So really young. She moved out, but she would go and watch me coach. I coached 3 different teams. I coached all my kids, and then one of my kids played for the USA Junior Olympics. Point of the story is, we were all together at the place for the gym where we played, and my oldest daughter, went on ahead of us for some reason to my house, and she let herself in, and it was pitch black in the apartment. Now, if I had left, it wouldn't have been pitch black in the apartment, because as much as I like dark, I don't like walking into dark. So, but something had happened. For some reason, the lights were off. So she walked in, and she said that she would normally have turned the lights on, but she didn't for some reason. And so she's in the apartment. We had left at the same time ish. She just was barely ahead of us. But then I made a stop real quick, so it put me back a couple minutes. And I get this phone call, and she's hysterically crying. And if you know this child of mine, you will know that doesn't happen. She's all Cobra Kai. This one is, gonna fend for herself.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. She's gonna fend for herself, and you're gonna be sorry you messed with that one. So she's calling me hysterical, and she says that she's outside of the apartment. When are you gonna be here? Hurry up! Hurry up! I'm scared. And I was like, what is happening? What is happening? And and she just kept saying, I'm scared. I'm scared. Well, okay, so now I'm on alert, and I don't know what kind of scare is happening. Do I need to stop and buy a weapon? do I need to send one of my other children in first? Who's the slowest runner? Because you're going ahead of me. So we get home, and she's literally curled up in a ball outside of my apartment, just shaking and crying. This is her story. A week before this, I was sitting in my living room, and I hear this bang, 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 and it sounds like a cookie sheet. If you were hitting a cookie sheet with a spoon, bang, 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 and it just keeps. What are you doing? What are you doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah, are you moving papers?
No.
Yes, you are.
No, miss, I'm not. Honestly.
Yes, you are. Okay. Anyway, it's the loudest papers in the whole world. Anyway, so I kept hearing it. I heard it all day. And my daughter's best friend came over, and she came to watch, I don't even know, an episode of American Horror Story, I think. And so we watched it, and she said to me, "What is that noise?" And I was like, I at first I thought somebody was working outside on something, but it was happening the entire day. And so I went in my bedroom to see if maybe there was ductwork that something was banging against, and there was no vent over there in the area where it was happening. And I went out on my patio, and I looked at that area, and there was nothing that was obvious that was making this noise, but it was loud, and it was coming from my bedroom. And so her and I talked about it, and then it stopped, and I didn't think anything about it. A few days later, my daughter comes over, and she said, "Emily said there was something banging in your room." And I was like, "Yeah, it was really weird. It just sounded exactly like I described it to you. And she goes, "That's weird. I wonder what it was." And I was like, "I don't know." So we don't. That's it. Fast forward. She comes into my house. It's pitch black. She heads straight back through the whole apartment. She goes to the whole apartment and she goes to my bedroom because she hears the banging. There's a slight banging, just barely able to hear in the back of the apartment. And she said, there was nothing in her body saying like danger, danger, danger. But the weird thing about this apartment was like if you open the door where there should be a light on the wall, it wasn't there. It was behind the door. So you had to go into the bedroom to turn the light on.
Yeah.
So my door was closed. She opened the door, stood behind it to turn the light on, and before she could, the door slammed shut. It was taken out of her hand that was on the doorknob and slammed shut. Now it's pitch dark. So she thinks that maybe there was somebody on the other side that pulled it shut and locked her in there. In which case, why? Is there somebody else in here? Was there somebody that she couldn't feel that like reached over her and pushed the door closed? She doesn't know what's happening. And it started going bang, 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 bang. And then it was just getting closer. Bang, 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 bang. And so loud that she couldn't hear anything but that. And so she turned and to try and get the door open, and it wouldn't open. So she's panicking, and she's afraid to turn her back towards the noise. She's afraid to turn her back towards the room. She can't see anything. She never got to the point where she turned the lights on. She wasn't going to walk any further. Finally, the door opens. She runs outside, and that's when she called me.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was, and I never heard that noise again. I had stuff happen to me in that apartment. We'll get to that. I had some real bad stuff happen to me, but I never heard that particular noise again. And after that, she went through this. She went through a very difficult time, a loss of somebody that she was dating. And she stayed with me while going through that. And she slept in my bedroom, but she would not let me leave. She would not let me close the door. And if I did leave, I had to move a chair so that it was in front of the door and sit right there so that if she opened her eyes, I wasn't gone. And one time, for a split second, she was sleeping there. I ran to put laundry in the dryer, and she started screaming hysterically. And like I said, if you know my daughter, this is not my daughter's personality. By a long shot. She's no. You're gonna think she's a garden snake. She's gonna be a viper. And so it's very, very real and very frightening. And I would never sleep with that door closed again. I don't know why that mattered to me. Like, keep the door open. I don't know.
Chase.
Oh, that's really loud. Oh my God, you just blew my eardrums. Did you do that on purpose? Oh, shh.
I'm not doing anything. Is it still loud?
Yes. You sound like the voice of God.
Well, you know.
Trace. Boom. Yes, God. Me, Trace. Yes.
Do you not think there's some kind of link there between doors, like with JD?
Yeah.
And to try to get into the bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe, yeah. I wish that things happened in that apartment. I'll just say really quick. When we first moved in there, I was sleeping. I keep one of my legs has to be out of the covers at all time. Not out of the bed, because that would be inviting a demon. But out of the covers, and I had something grab my leg and pull me down the bed. I would hear a little boy call for mom, and I would answer. I would take showers and hear my daughter talking to me from outside the shower, answer her, and she would come in and say, "Who are you talking to?" I was in the shower and it looked like a black figure outside of the shower curtain, and I went to open the shower curtain, and the whole middle of it pushed in and pushed against me till I was up against the wall of the shower. It was a solid something pushing in there on me. I had a lot of stuff happen in there, and I don't know what the deal is with bedrooms. In my other apartment, my husband and I were sleeping, and our bed faced the bathroom door. Just leave the doors closed. That's my best advice to anybody. Our bed faced the bedroom door, the bathroom door, and the faucets, both faucets, hot and cold, came on as hard as they could, and one of them was so hard to twist, the hot water, that it was almost not worth it to use it, and it just came on by itself, twisted. We had to twist him. I didn't. My husband and I woke up at the same time, like, what is that? And we sat there, and it was scary because there was the moon outside, so the moon was bringing in light a little bit, so you could see that in the mirror above the sink. And I cannot look into a mirror when it's dark. It scares me to death. And so I didn't want to look in the bathroom. And I said to him, "You need to go turn that water off." And he literally said to me this to me. He said, "Fuck no, I've seen that movie." And I was like, "Are you telling me you want me to turn the water off? Because we'll be here for a long time, at least till it's daylight." I don't know what the deal. The bedrooms, the bathrooms. I don't know.
And the doors.
And the doors. Yep.
Just crazy, that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. In the other house, in the older apartment, my kids were there alone, and they were in the living room playing a board game, and in the back bedroom, my bedroom, the TV came on, and it was SpongeBob, and there was an episode where I think SpongeBob gets on the ghost ship. If you guys have kids, you know what I'm talking about. There's a ghost ship, and SpongeBob yells, "It's haunted." Well, the TV came on as loud as it could go to the top volume, and SpongeBob yelled, "It's haunted." And that's all. And then the TV turned off.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a catch-22 because my kids were like, that was very, very, very scary for them. Also, they thought it was funny that this spirit used SpongeBob to convey the message. Like, yes, it is haunted. Thank you, SpongeBob.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
I'm telling you, I got them right and left.
Well, I had a lot of experiences, but bloody hell.
Yeah, I have a lot. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, but it seems really insignificant now. Just got my wheelchair. It's a shit now. No one's going to be interested in mine.
It's the SpongeBob one that did it.
someone just to keep turning on at night. I don't know who it was, but there you go. And it's probably about as scary as, I don't know. Let's be honest, who cares? Not my wheelchair.
It was a SpongeBob, the one that put you over the edge, wasn't it?
That was it, yeah.
You're like, that's it.
SpongeBob's just been there beside her. I can't bring you any of my paranormal experiences with a cartoon character. So
I win. Ding ding. Yeah. Until SpongeBob has yelled at you, it's haunted, you have not had a paranormal experience. The way that my recliner was facing that old apartment, you could see the reflection of the bathroom behind you in the TV. Oh, and we had these two girls were my daughter's best friends, and we had lived in the same neighborhood, and they also happened to move there from exactly where I lived in Washington State. So we automatically had a friendship, and they would come every summer and stay with us. And one of the girls, they wanted to sleep out in the living room. Kind of make it. I don't even know why. Just they wanted to sleep out in the living room. Just have a summer party thing. One of the girls decided she was going to sleep in the recliner. She was sleeping in the recliner, but she woke up because she heard a noise, and she saw a man standing behind the recliner, and the recliner got pulled backwards, and she fell out, and there was nobody there. So this is not somebody who was aware of paranormal activity in this apartment. Yeah. You tend to not first off, I wouldn't tell a child about it anyway. And she was she was 12. I'm not going to tell a child about the things that are happening like that, So she wasn't really aware. She wasn't aware of anything that happened like that, but she became aware. We were like, sorry about that. I don't know what to tell you, but SpongeBob says it's haunted.
Well, I don't know what to say. I'm speechless.
Well, I guess we'll wrap it up on that note. What do you think?
Yeah, SpongeBob.
Yep.
That was a clincher.
I'm telling you, I've had some weird stuff. Not weird stuff. I mean, yes, weird stuff, but unexplainable stuff. You can't explain that. There's no. And I'm so skeptical. Other people tell their stories, and I watch videos on YouTube. I watch that stuff too, and I watch people, and I really look at their listen to their voice, look at their eyes. Where they look down. Are they actually recalling a memory? Are they making shit up? For some reason, I'm just so skeptical. But I have all this stuff, all this, I can unpack and tell you all about all this stuff that's happened to me. And it's just, the very first time I ever used a Ouija board, I lived in this house in Spokane. My best friend and I were using the Ouija board. It's a long story. We thought we talked to this little boy. Doesn't matter. But I had to walk downstairs to go to the basement, obviously, and I felt a full-on shove on my back and was pushed down the stairs. And then I still used it one other time. So.
Who do you think it was pushing you down the stairs? Bugs Bunny?
Smarty pants. Maybe. I do not know. Maybe. I've had so much. My brother, I gotta tell you just one last one. So my brother and his girlfriend. Oh no, she was his wife. Sorry, it's hard. It's confusing. She was his wife. They lived down in my basement in the first home I ever bought in Spokane. I lived down in my basement, and his wife was pregnant. And one night I'm sleeping, and I hear him screaming, like screaming, and I legitimately think somebody's broken in and they're stabbing him. That's the only logical explanation, because he was a man. Why are you screaming? You know what I mean? Like, the only thing I can think of is that something violent is happening, and I don't know. Like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I don't think it's a good idea to go out there and So I hear him. I hope it's him. Somebody is boom, 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 boom up the stairs, right? And I just, it's pitch black. I do not know what's happening. He turns all the lights on. He comes into my room, and his nickname for me is Rue. And he said, Rue, I just saw a demon downstairs. Now, he's alone. His pregnant wife is downstairs. If that doesn't tell you a little something about my brother, I don't know what does.
Well, he just left her down there.
Yeah. And he swore up and down that he saw a demon, that there was green eyes and a black figure standing at the end of their bed. Now, did he have a sleep terror? He says no. Although that is the first place down in that basement that I ever had a sleep terror. He said no. He said that he was awake when it happened. But you are when you have a sleep terror as well. So I don't know, but whatever it was, is he wasn't saving her. But again, he was screaming, and it's pretty hard to scream during a sleep terror. But he swears up and down that he saw a demon standing at the end of his bed.
It's crazy. Yeah. Crazy.
They got divorced a little while after that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I guess she didn't like that part. The him leaving her down there part.
Yeah.
All right, I've talked your ears off enough.
Well, it's been interesting. As always, Tracy, you never saw my ears off.
I talk your ears off. I'm Chatty Cathy.
Talking to you is like an education.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's all.
All right, you guys. Thank you for coming. Again, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe. And we're going to be having a contest. And Rob, it's 2 months away, less than 2 months away from the start of
Halloween.
31 Days of Halloween. So it's coming. All right, you guys. Good night, Rob.
Good night, JC.
Post some good thoughts for Rob downstairs, guys. Downstairs, down below. All right. Good night.
Good night.